What we was trying to say was,
this was a setup. Call it what you want. I just did. If you go down this road, you're looking over your shoulder the rest of your life. I'd rather look the devil in the eye.
21 Bridges, starring Chadwick Boseman. And he is not T'Challa in this movie, if that's what you're thinking it was gonna be. And we saw it. We're gonna tell you what we think. This is my wife. And if you're finding me for the first time, please subscribe to the channel. Follow me on all my social media links. My wife is a kidney doctor. She has a channel. And every 2.5 years, she'll put a video up. Diving right into it. I knew about Chadwick Boseman before Black Panther, and I knew he was a great actor. And this story was written by Adam Mervis, directed by Brian Kirk, and it stars Chadwick Boseman as Andre Davis, who is an embattled cop who's had all these kills that he says were justified until this point, where they shut down 21 Bridges, and then we dive into it. Initial thoughts?
Just of the overall movie?
Yes.
I loved it. I love the movie. It's been a while since I've seen a movie that had me on my toes from the very beginning to the end, and they're few and far in between, and I think this was one of them.
We also saw Black and Blue with Tyrese. How would you say that movie relates to that one?
I think this movie gets all the points right that Black and Blue got wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in this movie, just by the name, you're probably thinking that it's going to be a lot of action scenes on 21 Bridges. If you saw the trailer, they shut down the bridges. But it really doesn't stick to that. It was just like they shut down the bridges and that was it. There were no big crime scenes on the bridges. They did do a lot of outstanding cinematography showing the bridges. But the story was one where if you walked in there and you hadn't seen the trailer, you started to get an idea that this was going to be more than just the guys that killed these cops. How would you say the acting was in this movie?
The acting was great. I didn't see any flaws whatsoever.
Right.
You know, Chadwick Boseman, you know, when you look at him, you think of Black Panther. But
T'Challa.
You think of Black Panther. But throughout the movie, I was so immersed in the storyline that I forgot that, you know, he was Black Panther.
Right.
He was Andre Davis.
So you say he did a solid job of acting?
He did, and also the actors surrounding him, the female lead.
J.K. Simmons.
She did a great job.
Sienna Williams. Everybody did a good job. In terms of the pacing of the movie, do you feel like it was paced properly?
I do. I think from the opening scene, when it opens with, you know, at a very emotional event during Andre Davis's childhood.
Right.
So that was very dramatic. The music they had playing helped play into the dramatics. And just throughout. Again, I was never bored at any point during the movie. I thought the pacing was great. I have no complaints about that.
I would agree. The movie's about 2 hours, but it's well paced. This has been one of the best paced movies that we've seen throughout the year. There was one little incident that happened that made us think the movie was about to come to an end, and guess what? It wasn't, because there was a deeper narrative going on that they started unveiling halfway through the movie, and if you wasn't paying attention, you didn't know that this was happening on top of the two guys that killed all these police officers.
Yeah, I think early on, I found it kind of odd that I was a little concerned about the bad guy's well-being.
One of them.
One of them. So it made you very attached to him. And so while they were doing what they were doing, I was, you know, hoping that they would be okay in a sense, and I didn't know why I felt that way. So they did a good job.
One of them.
Yeah. But they're together, so you need both of them to succeed in a sense for one of them to be able to succeed as well.
Without spoiling the story, no, you didn't, because remember, you saw what happened to one of them, and there was one that was the real connection to helping this case that was left standing.
Yeah.
And that's the one that everybody's going to be connected to. There's one of these robbers that's going to be more of an anti-hero. You will be connected to this guy, because what happened is not something he really wanted to be a part of. But one of these other dudes was just adamant, man. He was a killer. That's what he wanted to do, and that's what he was going to do. And so when you go see the movie and you see what we're talking about, you'll see how that thing went down. In terms of the story and the writing, are you comfortable with the way they went with the story and the writing?
It was very believable. I was just blown away. I really enjoyed the movie. Okay. The writing was great. I didn't see nothing it wasn't predictable at all until you start picking up on clues. Right. And you still have to pay attention to find things that confirm your initial suspicion.
Right.
So I thought they did a great job of subtly introducing the fact that there would be a twist in the movie and then playing it out in a way that made it believable.
Okay. Overall entertainment value, were you entertained from start one to the end?
Definitely.
It was a very entertaining movie. So some people would consider this a cop thriller. Would you say it fits that category?
Yeah.
Definitely a cop thriller movie. So having said all those things, what can we say that was bad about the movie?
And I honestly can't think of anything bad. I guess I can be superficial by just saying I'm not used to seeing Chadwick Boseman that thin.
Oh, she's talking about physically. He was a little smaller.
Yeah, he's already a thin, somewhat of a thin guy, but seeing him that thin kind of threw me. Okay. I mean, but it worked. It worked. I can't think of anything, honestly, that I didn't really like. What about you?
Same here. In terms of a suspenseful cop thriller, this movie gets 10 out of 10 on the life gain scales for me. And y'all know how hard it is for me to say something gets a 10. But for a dramatic cop thriller where everything was hit properly, from the soundtrack to the acting to the story to the entertainment value to the pacing, this movie gets a 10 for me. What are you going to give it?
It's hard for me to give a 10 as well, so I'll say a 9. Just because I gave Black Panther a 10, and so I wouldn't say this was a Black Panther, so I would say this is a 9. And not that I can really find anything wrong, but it's just hard for me to give a 10. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is our review of 21 Bridges starring Chadwick Boseman. Outstanding cast. You will be thoroughly entertained. You can take your kids to this movie if they're old enough to see shooting scenes. Just keep that in mind. And that's going to do it for this video. Don't forget to like our video. Please comment, subscribe, get yourself that life gain. Y'all can always donate to a brother's Patreon. I mean, everybody else getting Patreon money. How about me? And until that next Sexy as Hell video, we'll see you.